Is it just me, or is it that it feels like sometimes there are things that we want that we are trying so hard to make happen, and no matter what we do, something always gets in the way, and we feel like we have to start all over again? For 3 years, one of my biggest goals has been to finally lose about an extra 15 pounds that I gained and fit back into my clothes. And for 3 years, I have lost some weight, I've gained more back, and for the most part, it just hasn't happened until now. I thought it was because I kept finding a way to self-sabotage, but now that I've started to hit my goal, I finally see that it had to do with a few things that honestly have almost nothing to do with self-sabotage. Easy things that can apply to literally whatever it is that you want to do, whether it be weight loss or starting a business or finishing school, making friends, seriously, whatever. And now that I've addressed those things, I'm finally making the progress that I set out to make 3 years ago. I have just finished my walk and I have a meeting in like 15 minutes, so I need to go. I need to shower and get started for the day. I might get in a lift later today. I'm not sure, but we'll see how I feel. First, let's break down what is self-sabotage. Self-sabotage is basically a self-defeating behavior where no matter how much a person wants to do something or how much they value whatever it is, there is something inside of them that just stops them from following through. It could be self-esteem or negative ways they think about themselves. It could be fear that they are putting in all of this work that isn't going to lead anywhere. Really, it could be a number of things. So when we keep trying to do something and we keep failing, we may wonder, am I somehow sabotaging myself because I'm scared or I don't feel like I deserve this goal? Sometimes the answer to that might be an absolute yes, because it happens. There is such a thing as a fear of success. There's also being lazy, but sometimes it has to do with other things that we just need to understand about ourselves. Alrighty, so I finished my meeting and got myself together. I think I am going to make some protein pancakes. I made some the other day and they weren't that great. I've been trying out some just recipes to see which ones actually taste closer to actual pancakes rather than just weirdness. No matter how they come out, I will eat them, but hopefully they'll be delicious. So I'll let you know. The biggest thing that I realized is that just because you're struggling to get there doesn't mean it isn't for you. Self-sabotage would say that because it's hard for you, maybe it's a pipe dream and it isn't the right fit for you, and that's why you're not getting to that goal. But that's not necessarily the case. Two people can do the exact same thing, and for one person, it might be easy to get there, while for the other person, it requires a lot of discipline and focus and blood and sweat and tears the whole way to the finish line. If that second scenario is your reality, you cannot compare where you are to where they are, and you have to accept that for you, the journey might look a little bit different. Say you want to go to college, but school has always been hard for you, and you haven't had any examples of friends or family or mentors finishing higher education. For you to be able to make that happen, there has to be something driving you to do it, because it would be so much easier to quit. For me, going to college wasn't an issue. Both my parents went and had advanced degrees. It was expected that I go, and it wasn't a fear. There were some days I needed to put in a bit more focused effort, but for the most part, it was easy, and it wasn't a struggle for me to push through. Or another example, say for instance, I'm on roller skates, and my friend is driving a Tesla, and we're going to the same place. I can't expect that I'm going to get there at the same time that she does, or even be able to take the same roads, because we don't have the same resources. So with the resources I do have, I have to plan accordingly and give myself the grace to know that it's not going to happen the same way or even in the same time frame. For me to compare what's difficult for me to what's easy for someone else isn't an apples to apples comparison, and it isn't fair to myself or how I need to approach where I'm trying to go. So far, this is a fail, but they do have a great flavor. They're delicious. I just added in a little bit of tapioca powder because that's a thickening agent. So we will see if that holds it or if I've just messed it up even more. Anyway, time to flip. What? I think that worked. Let's compare. So much better, right? With my weight loss, maintaining the weight that I feel most comfortable has always been a struggle. So trying to approach how my body loses and maintains weight by analyzing and trying to do the thing that someone else who has never struggled with their weight doesn't allow me to tap into my unique needs. Alrighty, so I will definitely need to keep tweaking this recipe. It's not super pretty, but it's tasty, so we're gonna go with it. I need to figure out what I need to do so that they hold their shape. These last batch that I added tapioca powder to, they did, or tapioca flour to, they held their shape a little bit better, but there's still a secret ingredient that I am missing. I will figure it out and report back. All right, so we need to go to the grocery store and grab a few things for our, ooh, that just got really dark. Grab a few groceries for this week. And so I'm thinking a Trader Joe's and maybe a Target. Once I get there, they're in walking distance from each other. So there's no need for, like, while I might want to go to another store, these are just usually the most convenient. So that's where groceries are happening. As you accept that it might be a little bit more of a learning curve for you, make that thing your identity. Sometimes it takes a while for your mind to build up to your desire. There are things that we truly want, but when those things challenge our natural inclinations or our natural abilities, it can take time for us to build the mental fortitude to push through and actually make that thing a reality for us. Until we get there, we have to put in the mental practice of walking in that identity. So often, we treat the things we want to do as if we already have all of the skills and tools to be able to do that, and we get so frustrated with ourselves when we try and then fail. But those failures are actually what's helping us to grow to that space. For example, you say to yourself, I want to go on a walk, and you get up and you go on a walk. You don't think about it, you just do it because you've practiced it enough for it to be second nature. But think about a baby learning how to walk. They see other people doing it, they want to do it, they know that they should be able to do it, and the first time that they try, they immediately fall. And several times after that, they immediately fall. Then they start to take a few steps before they fall. And one day, they're able to just do it. When there are things that we say we want to do or make happen, we have to treat it like that. But mentally, we have to see ourselves as a walker and know that walking is for us. We then have to try walking, and we have to keep trying until we get it. So how does this translate to other things? If you want to have your own successful business, you have to first see yourself as an entrepreneur. Then you have to figure out what business you want to start. Then you have to start the business and learn from your failures and successes until you become the successful business person. As I said, for me, it's been working toward losing weight and fitting back into my clothes. I've attempted it several times over the past few years. And yes, it's gotten discouraging. It's even gotten embarrassing sometimes saying, hey, I'm on this weight loss journey, and saying that for the past few years. But I've never shrugged my shoulders and said, you know what, it's never gonna happen, I'm moving on. Just got back and I'm waiting on Ken to help me get this stuff out of the car. I got a lot of things and I don't wanna carry them in by myself. So we just got a package that I have to show you. A friend of mine, she subscribes to Every Plate, and she, I guess, didn't cancel or whatever, got too many meals for some reason and couldn't fit them. She's like, so do you want them? So I was like, okay, cool, yeah. We've never done it before because I've heard that as a subscription service, it's sometimes really hard to cancel the subscription, and I just don't need any more subscriptions. But it's these two meals, this smoky paprika pork chops, which look really delicious, and then this sweet potato pepper fajitas. Yeah, I'm super excited to try it, and who knows, maybe I will subscribe. Probably not, but maybe. It is always possible. It's nice to have an option when you don't really feel like thinking of a new meal, and also nice to get fun new recipe ideas. So we'll see. Even though I've tried it and paused it and gained some weight back, I've always seen myself as the version I want to be, and it's finally happening. But I had to first see myself in that reality before the reality could actually happen. Throughout these last few years, I've kept track of the successes I've had, the things that have been stumbling blocks for me, and I've never allowed myself to give up on that. I needed those failures over the past few years because it's helped me to learn what works, what doesn't work, where my triggers are, and what I need to pay close attention to. The next day, and yeah, we're actually about to make dinner. I got some really good news that I have been waiting on yesterday, which I'll share a little bit later, like in a few videos. But yeah, I got some really good news, and we spent the rest of the day just kind of celebrating and did not pick up the camera at all. And this morning was a bit hectic, so just now getting a chance to come back to the camera. But I will show you dinner. We're grilling pork chops, the ones that we gotten from that that Every Plate box. So we're grilling pork chops and doing some fun things with that. We are not following the recipe whatsoever, but they're great ingredients and it's gonna be delicious. The other thing is, figure out why you want it. Sometimes we say we want to do things that don't actually matter to us. We think we want it, we put in a little bit of work toward it, and when it doesn't happen, sometimes we add it to the list of examples of how we sabotage ourselves. But you have to seriously ask yourself, do you actually want that thing? Do you actually care? And if so, why?
Thank you. So excited.
I grew up in the 90s watching dance movies, and I love them all. Step Up, Center Stage, Stomp the Yard, all of it. And after watching them, I used to be convinced I wanted to be a dancer because it was cute and I felt so inspired. But I didn't have any level of a why behind wanting to be a dancer that made me sign up for classes or YouTube dance videos to practice any of that. When you have a strong why connected to doing something, it will give you the push that you need to not only start doing it, but to stick with it when it gets hard, to keep coming back to it when you fail, and to keep trying to figure out new ways or things you need to tweak to be successful at that thing. Things might happen where you get discouraged, but because you're so strongly tied to this why, you will keep coming back to it until it becomes a reality, because it's a true desire of your heart, not just something that would be nice to do or have. And there's nothing wrong with wanting things that would be nice to have, but if it requires a level of effort that you're not willing to put into it, it's really pointless to keep beating yourself up for sabotaging your goals, when in reality, it wasn't that much of a goal or even a heart desire to begin with.
Still ended up with 1 6. All right.
And so my question for you is, are you actually sabotaging yourself, or are you learning from your failures? All failures that we experience aren't due to us subconsciously trying to self-sabotage and get in the way of our own efforts. Sometimes it's just part of the process. Failure is a part of life, and it's when we learn from those failures that we're finally able to see the changes that we want to and start getting to the life of our dreams. If you enjoyed this video, don't be selfish. Make sure to like and share. Love ya. See you in my next.